All right, so we are starting the 609 Fish and Bait series. I get a ton of questions all the time about how do you catch this type of bait, how do you catch that type. So instead of, putting it in every video, I figure it's better to start my own bait series. That way, if you're watching one of my videos and you see the bait I'm using and you're curious of how to catch that bait, you could easily click on the link and view a video. I have found that by adding, me catching bait to the video, it does take up a couple of minutes of time, and some people don't want to watch that. They'd rather just see the fishing aspect. So that's why we're going to start this series. Today, the first bait of choice, we had to go with minnows. So episode 1's all about catching and trapping minnows. So I'm going to show you a few things right now. Now, when we're talking about traps, there's two main types, silver and black. The silver is stainless steel, black is typically coated mesh. I have both. I've had way more luck with the silver ones. Not saying that I haven't caught them in black ones, but I've honestly done it where I put two traps in side by side, same bait, one black, one silver, and the silver one produced more. Everybody has their own theories on it. I honestly don't know what drives them to go into the silver one for me and not the black one as much, but I guess we'll do that in another video. Now, while we're waiting for the minnow trap to produce, a few tips on how to find spots. I'm not going to give you spots. I'm going to tell you what you should look for. First, I look for saltwater feeder creeks. There's millions of them in the state I live in. They usually hold minnows and bait like this year round. Make sure you're not on someone's property. It's somewhere public. Also, you want to be careful. Some people leave their pots overnight, but I can't tell you how many times I've had a pot stolen by doing that. You really don't have to let them soak overnight to catch minnows. So 30 minutes sometimes will do the trick, sometimes less, depending on what tide it is. Tide's another important factor. I've always had better luck with low tide. All right, so for today's video, we're only going to be using three things. This Geese minnow pot, a bait clip with plenty of string, and frozen bunker for bait. Honest to God, trapping minnows might be the simplest way to catch bait. All you really need is a pot and some line and some bait. Now, you can use various items for bait. You can use, remains from dinner, like if I do like a rotisserie chicken, I'll keep the carcass and just throw that in the pot. Some people use bread. I mean, any type of fish works. The oilier, the better, to be honest with you. But let me show you how it works. All right, so here's today's setup. Now, this is a Geese minnow pot or minnow trap. I zip tied a bunch of, put a bunch of zip ties in with an underwater housing unit. I'm gonna put this GoPro down there and see if we can get some cool underwater footage. It took me a few tries. I had to add a weight so that it kept the pot balanced so it wasn't rolling over. We'll see if we can get some good underwater footage. So hold on, let me throw the camera in, get the bait in, and let's go. All right, few tips. What I'm using for bait for this minnow pot is a bunker. In fact, I'm just gonna put in just a bunker head. Now, here's the biggest thing I found. If you just throw it in like this, you'll get fish, you'll get minnows. But what I like to do, I take my knife and make little slits and try and get that scent out. Just enough to, get the oil out of this fish. I promise you, you do this with whatever bait you're using and you'll have much more success. All right, we're gonna put in some juicy bunker, man. These things stink to high heaven. So hopefully they'll get us some fish. All right, let's see what we got. All right, so right now I'm dumping them into this cooler for the time being. We're gonna let them sit for a minute. I'm gonna go get some fresh water. All right, so the next step once you have minnows is to, how are you gonna keep them alive? Now, there's two methods. The easiest way is get a piece of ice or an ice sheet, put it on the bottom, put a piece of paper, like newspaper or a wet cloth on that ice, and then sit them on top. They'll last for a while like that. Or you could put water in, but you must have an aerator for that. If you don't have an aerator, they're gonna die within, you know, hours, depending on what the water temperature is.